As a leader of a people that many consider to be more APC than PDP, we must work with the federal government.
I've got to work with the president for the good of my people. Those are the words of Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State as he comes calling to Aso Villa.
A tax identification number is simply a vital instrument for uniquely identifying as well as registering new taxpayers and to bring them into the tax bracket.
New tax identification number registration system comes on stream. Joint Task Board moves to reduce burden on taxpayers.
The Electoral Act 2010 as amended requires each political party to submit 2 election expenses report to the Commission.
INEC chairman speaks on non-compliance of all political parties with a section of the Electoral Act as amended. And billions of naira associated with former First Lady forfeited to the federal government. Hello again, good evening and welcome to the Network News, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA, and we're broadcasting live, of course. My name is Joseph Johnson. Let's begin with cordial relations because the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, has promised to work more closely with President Muhammadu Buhari and indeed the federal government. Speaking to newsmen after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari, the governor also made known his intention to adopt the Ruga settlement program in the greater interest of his people. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State also met with the president to intimate him on the state government's peace initiative between farmers and herders.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the new Bauchi State Governor Bala Abdulkadir Mohammed of the PDP since coming to power. Although details of their discussions held behind closed doors were not made public, the governor told newsmen that he is returning to Bauchi highly fulfilled.
As a governor of a state like Bauchi that loves the president more than any person in Nigeria, and also as a leader of a people that many consider to be more APC than PDP, we must work with the federal government. There are issues that are within our own purview, and there are issues that are beyond our capacity. And therefore, we must establish partnership. I have come to discuss very serious issues concerning Bauchi, because the people of Bauchi have given me that leadership that I must establish relationship with the federal government because of the serious challenges that we have. I have taken away one thing, that the president is there for everyone. The president is a Nigerian president. The president is not a partisan president because he received me well and listened to me. And of course, since I didn't tell him I was going to make this public, I will not make all the issues we discussed. But I'm very, very happy with the reception and what I have told the president.
Governor Bala Mohammed made it clear that Bauchi State is prepared to key into all people-centered policies and programs of the Buhari presidency, especially the trending Ruga settlement project aimed at finding lasting solutions to the incessant farmers-herders conflicts.
60% of the population of Bauchi or 70 are Fulanis, and therefore we must leverage on all this. We have illiteracy, we have insurgency, we have so many things that are bombarding us in terms of social challenges and security challenges. Definitely we will do that.
Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State, who was also engaged by the president on national issues, confirmed that the Ruga settlement program is never imposed on any state by the federal government.
The president has not imposed that on any state. It was voluntary. And they said any state that is prepared to do that to address the issue of insecurity in his state should come out and apply. So some of the states applied, and we are at the level of the pilot scheme. And some mischief makers will start bringing terms to cause confusion. To cause confusion in the country is very, very unfortunate. This is a policy that we felt that it is not only for the economic sense, but it's also going to address insecurity. And so if it's going to address this insecurity in the period of zero security that we have in the nation, then federal government will come and assist for those who want to do it. They are not imposing it on any state. Goodluck Jonathan did it, and he budgeted billions. He budgeted how many billions? About 10 billion. But we didn't see the money. If he had done that at that time, we would not be fighting insecurity herdsmen farmers today. So all this concept that is coming, I think, with due apology to those who are bringing the confusion, they should allow us to move and address this problem of farmers herdsmen crisis once and for all.
The Plateau State Governor, who also chairs the Northern Governors Forum, promised to galvanize action for lasting peace and security in the region.
I just came back from Egypt, where we went up to cheer our Super Eagles. And I also brought him back the concern of those players that are there. And I think he promised to handle the matter immediately.
He expressed optimism that the Super Eagles are capable of winning the Nations Cup if the concerns of the players, including welfare issues, are addressed. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Nigeria has launched a new taxpayer identification number registration system and consolidated national tax database program. Leah Katumba-Batunde reports that the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, stressed the imperative of a dynamic tax administration to adapt to changes for efficiency and transparency.
At the inception of the first tenure of the present administration, just about 10 million, mainly civil servants, were paying tax in Nigeria at the time that the country entered the first recession in more than 2 decades. That number has since doubled through effective implementation of reforms born out of the need to increase revenue, which was a huge challenge to government. With the potential to grow by as much as 45 million at the end of this quarter, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the role of data is now more important in making this increase possible.
Without credible and comprehensive data, an efficient tax system would simply be impossible. And to function optimally, tax systems have to be aware of the important statistics, the important data, the numbers of eligible individuals, the volumes of business, the volumes of economic activities, the designs and strategies to take advantage of this available data are also crucial. And this is where the necessity for a proper identification of eligible taxpayers, whether they be individuals or corporate entities, comes in. A tax identification number is simply a vital instrument for uniquely identifying as well as registering new taxpayers and to bring them into the tax bracket.
Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Babatunde Fowler, in buttressing the need to upskill the use of data in tax administration, highlighted gains recorded so far through the use of the tax identification number TIN.
We are posed, like I say, to change the financial profile of Nigeria. We can say goodbye to aid or donor support. And as a country that is said to have the largest GDP in Africa, I believe that we'll be showing a shining example for other African countries to follow.
The new TIN registration system is a web-based solution offering access to authorized users to initiate TIN requests from the comfort of their offices or home, on rate time online, verify their tax status, and print their TIN certificates.
The new TIN system being introduced is to ensure seamless integration with relevant agencies by leveraging on already captured data for tax purposes, reduce the burden of manual data sorting and cost of collection. facilitate transparent tax administration, and harmonize data of taxpayers in the country. In Abuja, Leah Katung-Babajale, NTA News.
And the push to exit mono-product economy is about to be upscaled as the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is set to ensure upward review of the Federation account. Kolo Mohammed has more.
The recently reconstituted board of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission was charged by the chairman to ensure the commission's output is premised upon the principles of equity, fairness, justice, and the law. It was an interactive session as the chairman responded to the desire by the commission to work towards increasing accruals to the Federation account.
If we succeed, which I believe we will, at increasing the sources of revenue, it means the revenue available for sharing to the 3 tiers of government will increase.
The 36 states of the Federation and the FCT are represented on the board of the commission. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
A bit on the judiciary now. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has reserved ruling for Wednesday, July the 3rd on the application of the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, urging it to allow them join issues with the All Progressive Congress on a notion to dismiss the PDP petition. Justice Mohammed Garba gave the verdict as it resumed sitting on Monday.
The PDP and its candidate through their lead counsel, Levi Uzogu, moved the application filed on 18th June 2019, pleading with the court to give them the opportunity to join issues with the APC on its motion pending before the court, filed on 15th May. The APC in this motion, which was initially unchallenged by the PDP, is urging the court to dismiss the petition of the PDP and its candidate at the pre-hearing stage. Though the petitioners through their counsel joined issues with the APC on its application filed on 14th May, which the respondent has withdrawn from the court and elected the one it filed on 15th May, which the petitioners did not join issues with and merely raised objection on its purported similarities. This the court took judicial notice of on the petitioner's inability to join issues on this matter within 7 days as stipulated by law. However, in the interest of justice, the petitioners are urging the court to give them the opportunity to reply the APC on the matter. Counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari, Wale Olanipekun SAN, who objected to the application, appealed to the court to dismiss it. Lateef Fagbemi SAN, counsel to the APC, and Ustaz Usman SAN, counsel to INEC, also objected to PDP's application. Ruling of the court on this matter will determine whether the sitting of the Presidential Election Petition Court will go beyond its pre-hearing stage on the PDP petition. During the trial proper, the PDP is proposing to call 400 witnesses. With the consent of all the counsel, petitioners will have to prove their case within 10 days instead of 14 days, while respondents will have to present their case within 6 days instead of 10 days. The counsel equally proposed trial to commence on Thursday this week. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
3 months after the 2019 general elections, no political party has submitted its financial report as required by the Electoral Act. In this regard, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is to deploy some legal means to compel erring parties to comply. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu renewed the stance of the Commission in a meeting with political party leaders in Abuja. The issue of deregistration of political parties was also discussed.
I wish to remind you that the Electoral Act 2010 as amended requires each political party to submit 2 election expenses report to the Commission. First, the disclosure of material contributions received from individuals and corporate bodies 3 months after the announcement of results of the general election as provided for in Section 93, subsection 4 of the Electoral Act. So far, no political party is in compliance.
The more political party participating in an election, the less post-election violence and bloodshed we have had. We therefore believe that parties should not be deregistered. We believe that the registration requirement for associations seeking to be registered as a political party should be made more stringent and reviewed immediately, instead of registering political party and then deregistering them within a short while.
The review meeting with stakeholders is part of INEC's efforts to come up with a central document in addressing some of the challenges experienced in the 2019 general elections. To legislative matters now, the essence of government is to provide for its citizens, which can be actualized when organs of government work in synergy and unity of purpose. In furtherance of this, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, met with President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, to solicit support of the National Assembly in achieving federal government's plans for Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
It's been a period of interface and bridge building between the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, and heads of government agencies. This is part of the process of lubricating the machinery of intergovernmental relations.
To provide for the
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa's visit was primarily to seek the support of the National Assembly in achieving the President's anti-corruption fight, strengthening of security and diversification of the Nigerian economy.
So by right, you are the ones that are the custodians of our national principles, our ethos, our being as a nation.
The Senate President presented a positive response.
The President wants to leave legacies. We are prepared to go all the way to support the President and the administration. But we are also urging those who will be appointed to remain committed to those ideals of ensuring that legacies are delivered, created, and are left by the President and indeed the administration.
Senator Lawan believes that some government programs and policies need review for efficiency, such as the social intervention program, public procurement process, and the timeline for the presentation of budget to the National Assembly.
The Public Procurement Act, I think, needs to be reviewed and amended. The process takes time. The 15% mobilization, I think, is demobilizing our projects.
President of the Senate thereafter inspected the Senate chamber and was satisfied that the Senate is ready to reconvene Tuesday, the 2nd of July, 2019.
The sitting arrangements, I think, are perfectly done, and we are looking forward to resuming tomorrow.
From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And SGF boss Mustafa also interacted with Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila and urged the National Assembly to facilitate a legislative process towards actualizing federal government's commitment of pulling 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years. Here is National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali with the story.
The tripod agenda of the present administration of fighting corruption, securing the nation and economic diversification, no doubt, requires the input of the legislature as an arm of government to be effectively implemented. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, believes when the three arms of government work together to provide good governance, all segments of society stand to benefit, which is why he is extending a hand of fellowship to the National Assembly to deliver on promises made to Nigerians. He congratulated the Speaker for his emergence as presiding officer through what he called overwhelming bipartisan support of lawmakers of the Ninth Assembly. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, says nation building is a joint task, stressing that the three arms of government are independent and interdependent. He solicited early submission of the medium-term expenditure framework to the National Assembly to enable quick passage of appropriation bill.
This is the timetable that we have set. One, the MTEF to be submitted in the next 2-3 weeks for us to go over it, work on it, and pass it before we go on our long break. And then come back in September, and the end of September, present the budget to us. Now, what does that do? It leaves us with 3 months, 3 clear months to pass the budget. And what does that do? It brings us back to that cycle that has been evasive of January to December.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives is set to resume plenary after 2 weeks' break.
Very soon, the Speaker will be unveiling the legislative agenda of the House.
which is a document that has the input of all political parties represented in the House.
Other issues that will dominate activities at the National Assembly are the appointment of principal officers for the 9th Assembly. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshomole, says all geopolitical zones in Nigeria will be adequately compensated and recognized in the next level government of President Muhammadu Buhari. While hosting members of the 9th National Assembly from Kano State, led by the State Deputy Governor Nasiru Gowuna in Abuja, Oshomole reaffirmed that the All Progressives Congress, having formed a government for the second term, have learnt from the errors of their past and is determined to strongly uphold the principle of intra-party interface going on. As the government settles down for the business of governance, the APC national chairman urged members of the National Assembly, particularly its leadership at both chambers, to appreciate party loyalists so as to fast-track development for the nation.
So it is my hope that going forward, those who will now become the principal officers of the two chambers will realize that they are first among equals, allow them to provide leadership, not because they are better than them, but everybody cannot be in a leadership position.
We are here, Your Excellency, to thank you and the NWC1 for macro-zoning the position of the majority leader to the northwest, and then subsequently micro-zoning it to Kano State.
What we now have is the 9th House of Representatives will be unprecedentedly different in trying to support the federal government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari to deliver on the promises of his campaigns and the policies and programs of the APC.
This is the Network News on the NTA.